China's tourism plunge. Reasons behind the 99% drop in overseas tourists. Are you really confident to visit a country which is experiencing natural disasters including floods, earthquakes, and strange phenomenon? Do you believe you can be arrested and then beaten if you fail to prove the personal information Chinese government raises suspicion of you? Are you safe or are you traveling to hell? This video will deal with shocking reasons why China's overseas tourists plummet by 99%. After COVID-19, China experienced a significant transformation in its tourism landscape during the initial quarter of this year. Chinese travel agencies handled a mere 52,000 international tourists arriving from abroad, reflecting an astonishing 99% reduction compared to the 3.7 million visitors recorded in the same period of 2019. Prior to the outbreak to the Sakusou Livoni, among these 52,000 visitors, half hailed from Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan, while tour groups originating from Europe and America have nearly disappeared. An August 3rd report from the Wall Street Journal remarked that as interactions between China and Western nations waned, the concept of long-term decoupling would gain prominence. On August 6th, journalist Fan Wenxin, representing the Wall Street Journal, noted in another article that half a year after Beijing abandoned its zero-case policy and reopened its borders, this decline signifies the increasing gap between China and the West, potentially resulting in enduring negative consequences. During a lecture in May, Xi'an, the head of the Smart Tourism Division of the semi-official China Tourism Association, expressed that the influx of visitors from Europe, the United States, Japan, and South Korea had sharply fallen. The absence of international visitors is especially noticeable in major urban centers like Beijing and Shanghai. In the initial half of this year, the number of foreign tourists in these cities amounted to less than a quarter of the comparable figures recorded before the 2019 outbreak. For instance, taking the prominent tourist destination Zhangjiajie in central China as an illustration, the Zhangjiajie National Park, renowned as the backdrop for the floating mountains in the movie Avatar, used to be a preferred destination for foreigners. However, from January to mid-May this year, a mere 25,600 overseas visitors arrived, signifying a substantial 95% decrease compared to the 500,000 foreign tourists who visited in the first 5 months of 2019. Conversely, 5 markets in other countries experienced a rebound in the initial half of 2023 that surpassed 2019 levels, exhibiting growth rates of 338%, 236%, 117%, 108.4%, and 107.4% respectively. The United States and Australia nearly reached the figures from 2019, experiencing growth of 95% and 92% respectively. Additionally, markets in South Korea, the United Kingdom, Germany, and France demonstrated robust recoveries. The volume of international flights arriving in China has been restricted, aimed at preventing Chinese airlines from returning to their pre-pandemic operational levels. Nevertheless, both Chinese and international experts in tourism believe that deteriorating relations between China and Western nations have made foreign tourists more cautious about visiting the country. Towards the end of June, the U.S. State Department issued a Level 3 travel advisory, advising U.S. citizens to reconsider travel plans to China due to concerns about arbitrary law enforcement, including the possibility of exit bans and wrongful detentions. Matt Kelly, a business consultant from Boston, nostalgically recalls a bicycle trip he undertook in Xi'an 15 years ago. Situated in southern China, Xi'an is known for its scenic beauty and picturesque hills, although Kelly has visited China twice since then. He expresses a lack of interest in returning due to China's current portrayal as antagonistic towards the West and anti-American sentiments, which deeply troubles him. In the past, Pennsylvania-based Friendly Planet Travel would annually organize trips to China for about 1,500 clients. However, since the pandemic, they haven't received any applications for tours to China due to the significant negative sentiment towards the country. Peggy Goldman, the company's founder and president, believes that China's popularity will eventually rebound, but they have not yet reintroduced their Chinese tour packages. data from Mundi, a travel tech firm based in Austin, Texas, indicates that in the first half of 2023, the number of travelers from North America to China was only 40% of the corresponding period in 2019. Mundi sells China tour packages through travel agencies and intermediaries. In 2019, approximately 500,000 travelers from North America flew to China, accounting for around 20% of all air travel from that region to China. Dan Harris, the founder of the Harris Bricken law firm, which offers consultancy services to U.S. businesses operating abroad, points out that while corporate executives still inquire about business trips to China, they are increasingly concerned about the associated risks. Previously, the primary concern centered on expediting visa processes. However, Harris emphasizes that companies are now deeply worried about unforeseen incidents impacting their employees in China. The average American is naturally more concerned about their personal safety, leading to a reluctance to travel to China unless absolutely necessary. The declining interest in China isn't limited to individuals from mainstream Western countries. Even foreigners who have lived in China for an extended period are starting to leave. Patriots who once served as intermediaries between Chinese society and their home countries, often inviting their families and friends to visit, are departing. For instance, 37-year-old investment consultant Alexander Sirikov returned to his native Bulgaria from Shanghai in August 2022. He noticed that many of his expatriate friends had also left, including 8 out of 10 expatriate families in his residential complex. Alexander remarks that people now perceive China as distant and aloof. Shanghai used to host the headquarters of numerous foreign companies. However, after a stringent 2-month lockdown in late March 2022, there was a significant exodus from Shanghai. A video circulating on Chinese social media platforms depicted a deserted Fushing Road in Shanghai, where a man lamented the absence of foreigners, highlighting the mass departure of expatriate managers from Fortune 500 companies, resulting in a sharp drop in luxury residence rents in the area. The decline in international tourists could also signal a reduction in foreign investment in China. Analysis of official data by the research firm Rongding Group reveals that foreign direct investment (FDI) in China during the first quarter of 2023 plummeted to $20 billion, in stark contrast to the $100 billion recorded in the same period of 2022. Mark Witzke, a researcher from Rongding Group, corroborated this decline, noting that FDI inflow into China during the first quarter had dramatically decreased by 80%, reaching $20 billion compared to the previous year's $100 billion in the same period. This decline comes amidst a significant decrease in foreign investments and inbound visitors. China's economy is continuing to decline, with the housing market plummeting and youth unemployment rates reaching historic highs. Confidence in income and job prospects is diminishing among the Chinese population. In the second quarter, the Chinese economy barely saw any growth compared to the first quarter. As China's economy regresses, its ideological opposition to mainstream Western countries becomes more evident. The newly revised anti-espionage law, effective since June 1st, lacks specificity about what content falls under the category of national security or interest for the Chinese Communist Party. This law allows authorities to access data, electronic devices, and personal property information during anti-espionage investigations. It also raises the potential for imposing exit bans. The Chinese Ministry of State Security emphasized the importance of mass citizen participation in the implementation of this law, encouraging mutual surveillance and reporting. Furthermore, new measures from the Cyberspace Administration require stricter oversight on data flowing overseas, including a review of key information infrastructure operators and those handling personal data of over 1 million individuals. Any data transfers outside the country must undergo a security evaluation organized by the National Cyberspace Department. These myriad security regulations from the CCP are viewed with suspicion and discomfort. Critics argue that China has never truly operated as a country governed by the rule of law. Despite superficially championing various freedoms, the CCP fails to implement them. The expanded anti-espionage law broadens the definition of espionage activities, bans the transfer of information related to national security, and grants authorities the power to impose exit bans and investigate suspected spies. These measures have led to increased vulnerability among foreign nationals in China. Some view these moves as detrimental to international corporate operations. For instance, Dentons, a major Western law firm in China, announced divesting its operations due to Chinese government requirements related to cybersecurity and data protection. Moreover, even before the implementation of the anti-espionage law, foreign companies in China were under heightened scrutiny. Several instances occurred where foreign firms faced legal issues or detainment of employees. This has left Chinese living abroad hesitant to return home due to concerns about potential harassment or being denied the right to leave. The CCP's efforts to shape global discourse and media content are extensive, with estimates of annual spending ranging from several $100 million to tens of billions. Xi Jinping's Tell China's Story Well campaign, introduced in 2013, aims to present an image of China that is trustworthy and respectable. However, critics argue that it's challenging to alter the party's inherent nature, rooted in deceit and aggression. If you're a foreigner planning a trip to China, it's important to exercise heightened caution during the current period. The Ministry of State Security in China has issued a rallying call for the entire society to unite in the effort against espionage activities. This indicates a nationwide campaign to identify and apprehend spies within Chinese society. Just a day before, on July 31st, the Ministry of State Security took an unusual step by establishing a public presence on the WeChat social media platform. Following this, on August 1st, they published their first article titled Combating Espionage, Mobilizing Society as a Whole. This article advocates for the implementation of a recently revised counter-espionage law, which has been in effect since July 1st, 2023. The article emphasizes that beyond the specialized national security agencies, active public involvement and widespread participation are crucial to effectively counter the threats posed by espionage activities. This underscores a broader societal call to enhance the country's security against espionage. The focus is on establishing a strong defense for the security of the nation and its citizens, both against espionage and counter-espionage efforts. The article has triggered widespread concern, creating an atmosphere akin to a political campaign. As a foreign visitor, there is a potential risk of inadvertently being caught up in what is known as the People's War. Additionally, there's the chance of becoming a target for certain corrupt individuals within the Chinese Communist Party. The United States government has expressed concern about the absence of a clear definition for national security and interests in China's new counter-espionage law. This unease extends to the unsettling encouragement of citizens to spy on one another, which is seen as a matter of significant concern. We are closely monitoring the implementation of China's revised counter-espionage law, which greatly expands the range of activities classified as espionage. Additionally, we have reservations about the potential for arbitrary detentions and arrests within the People's Republic of China, as reflected in our Level 3 travel advisory. It's important to note that these concerns were raised by the Secretary in his discussions with Chinese officials. It's evident that the actions of the Chinese Communist Party, CICP, have already dissuaded many foreigners from considering travel to China. The Chinese State Administration of Foreign Affairs released its latest data, revealing that China's attraction of foreign direct investment (FDI) in the second quarter of 2023 has reached its lowest point in 25 years. According to reports from Radio Free Asia, apart from a lack of optimism about China's economic prospects, the enactment of the CCP's new counter-espionage law stands out as a significant factor contributing to the decline in foreign investment. The law encompasses both reinvested earnings and new foreign direct investment, serving as an indicator of China's ability to attract foreign capital. The report states that China's FDI in the second quarter of 2023 amounted to $4.09 billion, marking a 76% decrease from the $20.05 billion recorded in the first quarter and an 87% drop from the same period in the previous year. It's worth noting that China had achieved a peak FD of $100 billion in a single quarter in 2022. the Chinese Communist Party, CPA, has recently initiated investigations into foreign companies. On August 4, 2023, the Shanghai Securities Regulatory Commission announced that it was conducting an inquiry into Morgan Stanley, a US-based investment bank, while the Chinese government maintains that this selection is arbitrary. Many are skeptical of this assertion. Prior to this incident, the Chinese government had carried out raids on several U.S. consulting firms, including Bain & Company and Mintz Group. They had also imposed cybersecurity assessments on U.S. chipmaker Micron Technology. These actions have heightened concerns among foreign companies regarding the business and investment environment in China. In May 2023, an executive from Astellas Pharma, a Japanese company, was arrested in Beijing on charges of alleged espionage. This incident has reverberated throughout the Japanese business community, prompting some companies to reevaluate risks and reduce business travel to China. The new counter-espionage law, which took effect on July 1, 2023, has inadvertently made it easier for foreigners to unintentionally violate China's state secrets while handling and collecting business information within the country. As a result, the CCP has highlighted the fact that staying in China now involves a sense of peril. Those who are familiar with China are already aware of the risks posed by this counter-espionage law. In response to the recent nationwide call by the CCP for a spy hunt, Isaac Stonefish, CEO of Strategy Risks, a consulting firm, voiced his concerns on Twitter. He found it deeply unsettling that the Chinese Ministry of State Security is encouraging all Chinese citizens to participate in counter-espionage efforts, effectively implying that they should engage in surveillance of both their fellow citizens and foreigners. This development has had a significant impact, as some Chinese individuals have already begun to monitor their compatriots. This trend is seen as inappropriate and inconsistent with traditional Chinese values. The metaphor of catching a toy from a big white goose is being used to suggest that this undertaking is ill-timed and questionable. On July 14th, during the National Conference for the State Security System, a senior CP official emphasized the importance of supporting covert operations and providing strong protection for state security organs. The Chinese government often finds ways to shift blame onto the U.S. or its allies as part of its major policies. On July 20, 2023, William Burns, the director of the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency, mentioned at the Aspen Security Forum that progress had been made in rebuilding U.S. intelligence networks in China. In response, a spokesperson for the Chinese Foreign Ministry later stated that China would take all necessary measures to firmly defend national security. China expressed its concerns about the matter and criticized the U.S. for disseminating false information about China's espionage and cyber attacks. Additionally, China asserted that the U.S. itself faces issues in these domains. China is emphasizing its commitment to rigorously safeguarding national security, which has raised concerns among foreigners and international companies with ties to mainland China. The operational environment in China is expected to become more challenging due to the CCP's growing use of exit bans and the implementation of the new counter-espionage law. These combined factors have contributed to a less welcoming atmosphere for foreign entities. Taking these developments into account, the U.S. State Department issued a travel advisory in late June advising citizens to exercise caution when traveling to China and recommending that Americans reconsider travel to mainland China. This advisory is based on the arbitrary enforcement of local laws, including exit bans, and the potential risk of unjust detentions. U.S. citizens traveling to or residing in the People's Republic of China (PRC) could potentially face detention without access to U.S. consular services or information about the charges against them. They may also experience interrogations and detention without being granted fair and transparent treatment according to the law. The travel advisory highlights that individuals holding dual U.S. PRC citizenship and U.S. citizens of Chinese descent might encounter heightened scrutiny and harassment. The U.S. State Department employs a tiered system of travel alerts, ranging from mild LAN to severe A4. On July 3rd, an email was sent to the media announcing that China had received a Level 3 travel alert, while Hong Kong was assigned a Level 2 travel alert, indicating the need for increased caution. Additionally, the U.S. State Department noted that the Hong Kong government does not recognize dual nationality. As a result, U.S. citizens with both American and Chinese citizenship, as well as those of Chinese heritage, might face greater scrutiny and potential harassment. In practice, if a person holding dual U.S. and Chinese citizenship enters Hong Kong using a U.S. passport and is detained or arrested, the Chinese authorities are required to inform the U.S. Embassy or consulate and allow American diplomats to have access to the detainee. However, American consular officials could encounter challenges in providing assistance, even to individuals using U.S. passports to enter Hong Kong. A Level 3 travel advisory has been issued for Macau, advising travelers to reconsider their plans. To grasp the seriousness of the situation, one can refer to the promotional video released by China's Ministry of National Security in July 2023 to introduce the new counter-espionage law. This video illustrates that the definition of espionage under the recently amended law goes beyond conventional understanding. It significantly broadens the scope of espionage to encompass a wide range of documents, data, information, and items related to national security and interests. Many foreign companies, including major accounting firms, investment analysts, and pharmaceutical and biotechnology companies, could potentially be considered as possessing data, information, and goods tied to China's national security and interests. The extensive implications of such a wide interpretation are likely to negatively impact foreign investment and hinder the rejuvenation of China's economy. Simultaneously, society at large is being mobilized to identify and apprehend spies, creating a tense and somber environment. However, this atmosphere has also led some Chinese individuals to become disillusioned. Historical parallels are drawn to the CCP's past actions, such as the mass arrests and executions of party members and militants in the name of capturing spies during the 1920s, 1940s, and the Cultural Revolution of the 1960s. These historical events have led many Chinese to critique the CCP's current campaign to uncover spies. Moreover, the CCP's focus extends to successful private companies, including those founded by Chinese citizens. These companies face substantial fines, bans, regulatory interventions, and scrutiny of their leaders. Any business entity or leader perceived to challenge the CCP as absolute authority is at risk of suppression. The Chinese government's power has become increasingly authoritarian, encompassing various aspects of people's lives, from online censorship to constraints on the music and entertainment industries under the guise of ideology. The government resists acknowledging potential factors that might foster independent thinking or divergent political perspectives. In conclusion, China's economy is facing challenges, and its ideological differences with Western nations are becoming more evident. The introduction of new security regulations and laws is generating apprehension among both foreign individuals and businesses. Despite efforts in propaganda, the fundamental nature of the CCP remains resistant to change. The Tell China's Story Well campaign has been met with skepticism, as the party's actions frequently contradict its rhetoric. Particularly, certain terms have acquired sensitivity in China, such as epidemic or mask, which may hold alternative meanings in specific contexts. These sensitivities extend to soft media as well. Recent instances demonstrate that openly criticizing the CICP or its leadership can result in threats and harassment from state security agencies. This growing climate of control and restriction has led to a surge in exit bans, with multiple laws being introduced or modified to grant authorities the capability to impose such bans. Between 2018 and July 2023, approximately 5 new or amended laws related to exit bans were enacted, contributing to a total of 15 such laws. Data from the Chinese Supreme Court's database highlights a significant rise in cases related to exit bans from 2016 to 2022.